Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Philip. I appreciate you stopping by and checking this out. This is the introduction to my very first experiment. We're going to do the 21-day total body transformation according to the Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson. Some people may know who this is from the website Mark's Daily Apple. Other people may know the Primal Diet and Lifestyle System as the Paleo Diet or as the Wild Diet. Very similar in concept. Um, Basically, the point of the book, if you read it, which you can pick up at, I got mine at Barnes and Noble for like less than $20, um, gives you an overview of the kind of the diet and the lifestyle that our primal ancestors had, and how that's supportive of longer living and better health, and a reduction of the bad side effects of our current eating habits in our society. Um, Plus, it kind of goes through, gives you a journal for 21 days, just kind of things to note while you're doing it. But the 21-day challenge is essentially eating a primal diet and doing, kind of living the primal lifestyle for 21 days. Uh, Mark, the author, has noted that 21 days is about how long it takes to break bad habits and create new ones, and it's also about the right length of time that the average person will be willing to stick it out. More than 30 days, people will kind of look at it and say, well, I don't know, it's 30 days, it seems a little too long. Less than 30 days, people will look at it and go, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's gonna work. Now, keep in mind, the author points out the fact that yes, 21 days is long enough to reset your genetic properties. However, you can't just do it for 21 days and then go back to a lifestyle. You need to stay with it forever. So, with that in mind, I'll cover a couple things about myself and then about the actual challenge. So I'm 5'9", I'm 200 pounds. My scale says I'm somewhere between 18 to 20% body fat. So we'll call it 19, just make it even. I'm in the military, so I'm not going to be using the actual workout options that he talks about doing, which is mostly push-ups, pull-ups, planks and squats. That's not enough for what I have to do. So if you're going to do this, I highly recommend you make sure that what your workout is doing is sports specific to what you do. So if you're an athlete of some type, make sure you're doing a workout that fits for what you're doing. If you're just a normal person who doesn't require physical fitness for what you do, mostly what you get paid for, then hey, do whatever you want. He has real basic stuff. He said it takes about 30 minutes for him to do his warm-up, workout, cool down. Keeps it pretty simple. If you want to know more about the author, go to marksdailyapple.com and you can learn more about him. I'm not going to cover that too much. The diet portion of this is pretty simple. Basically, eat things that your ancestors would have been able to find. Obviously, for example, my wife's orange soda would not have been available to her ancestors. You're not going to eat it. Pre-processed food like breads, especially white bread, not going to eat it. I guess the easiest way to describe it is, okay, so if you go all the way back to our ancestors back in the day, thousands of years ago, before the agricultural revolution, which allowed us to create the vast societies we have today, all we would have had was wild game and things that grew naturally in the woods to eat. This, if you go even further back to the Ice Age, there's another fantastic book, which I'll talk about in another episode, which discusses the fact that, during the Ice Age, all we would have had was animal products. We would have had no plants to eat because of the snow, especially, people of European descent, because we would have been underneath the ice at the time. So the argument being, if all you had was game to eat and fruits and vegetables that you could find that you knew were safe to eat, that's you're not going to eat grain. You're not going to eat necessarily berries or fruits that are out of season. You're only going to eat meat, especially fresh meat, and fruits and vegetables that are currently growing at the time. So the primal diet focuses on eating non-processed foods. He does talk a lot about eating, organic, free-range food. I got it. It's expensive. You can't do it. Not as big of an issue. The goal is just to eat as much quality protein as you can, as much quality with as much fats as you can. Now there's some debate right now as to whether or not fat is what you should be eating. Again, the argument is right about the 1950s when we came back from World War II. Traditional medicine started developing the food pyramid most of us grew up with. We have grains at the bottom, and then meats and fish, and then fats and things at the very top, at very small amounts. Obviously, society's gotten fatter over time. A lot of that's to do with eating processed food. A lot of that's to do with not being as physically active as we used to be back in the day. But again, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're eating the same foods we feed to animals to make them fat. So when you want that quality, fatty, beef from Iowa, you're going to eat a lot of corn-fed beef with a whole lot of carbs in it. So the argument is our ancestors would have eaten majority protein and fat, very few carbs. And if we do eat carbs, it comes from vegetables and things like that are not processed, just naturally occurring carbs. And no sugar, no artificial foods, things like that. It's stuff that you know. So with that, the 21-day challenge for the next 21 days, and I'll record every day what I ate in my workout and how I feel and just thoughts about it. My goal is to eat as few processed carbs as possible, eating just the lean, meats and fats that I can get, and try to eat the healthy stuff. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to use one app on my phone. It's going to allow me to track all of my foods and keep the macronutrient profiles for all those foods. It's got restaurants. It's got grocery store foods. It's got all kinds of things. You can make your own meals on it. So keep track of your calories, fats, proteins, and carbs. Plus, you can put in exercises and determine the amount of calories on average from that. And you can put in your height and weight as you go along, and it'll track that towards your goals. The app is called Lose It. It's a free app. Highly recommended. I've used it before in the past, and it's a great way to look at things. Now, the goals for eating the foods that we're looking at. So based on my dietary needs, based on what I'm looking to lose, I need to lose, because I said I'm about 200, I need to be somewhere closer to 170, so I need to lose about 30 pounds. So for me to do that at a healthy rate of no more than 2 pounds a week, which give or take, we'll see, we're going to eat a 1900, 1950 calorie diet. So with that, I'm going to be watching how many calories I eat, in addition to how much fat, proteins, and carbs. My goal is to eat less than 100 grams of carbs per day, no more than 150. The book discusses how around 100 calories is about that right sustainable amount of carbs, excuse me, not calories, carbs. If you eat more than 100 carbs, you're kind of entering into the body wants to make fat zone. If you're eating less, you can go into ketosis. And unless you're, an MMA fighter or some type of highly elite athlete where you have nutritionists and dietitians taking care of you, I wouldn't worry about it. Couple things a lot of people have asked me about in the past when I've told people about this eating this way. Your body does a couple things. So fueling yourself on this diet. So you hear traditionally that carbohydrates give you energy, and so you need to eat as many carbs as you can, have as much energy as you can, and you need to eat as little fat as possible because fat makes you fat, apparently. Again, if you go to Mark's Daily Apple, it'll discuss in depth why fat doesn't make you fat. But the gist of it is this: if your body gets enough fat, it won't need to store fat. It's kind of like drinking water. Some of you out there have tried to lose your water weight, and so you just don't drink water, but you don't do anything. Yet if you look up any source online, any reputable source that is, about how to lose water weight, it's drink more water and eat less salt. Well, it seems counterintuitive. You drink more water to lose water weight. Well, same thing with fat. If you put more fat in your diet, you'll lose more fat off your body. The reason for this is your body assumes if it's not getting enough of something, that you're starving and is trying to hold on to it. So this is why they say, okay, eating a calorie-restricted diet to a certain point is good, but if you eat too few calories, your body thinks you're starving, and it will start storing fat and everything because it's worried you're dying, and it needs to hold on to something to make energy. With that in mind, so you want to eat more fats and you want to eat more protein because your body needs protein for the muscle mass and it needs fat for the energy. When you're born, your breast milk is primarily fat. It's very little protein, almost no carbs. Again, it depends on the diet of the mother, but for the most part, it's fat. Your babies are born perfectly healthy without eating carbs. The only reason their body starts burning carbohydrates in the way we traditionally see it is because you, as a parent, give your kid Ritz crackers or goldfish or whatever. Now, I have no children, so I'm not condemning parents for doing that. It's what we've been taught. Don't worry about it. So when your body doesn't get enough of what it needs, it turns other stuff into that. For example, if you eat too much protein and not enough fat or carbs, like if you eat just a protein diet, for example, your body will turn protein into glycogen, which is sugar, and it burns it like carbs. You'll still store fat. If you eat too much carbs, which is what it gets turned into glycogen, and your fat stays as fat. So the idea being, if you eat more fat, your body will burn fat for energy versus burning carbs, and your protein will get absorbed into your muscles or passed out as whatever it is you need. Also, since you're eating only fresh fruits and vegetables and quality meat, You shouldn't need supplements, you shouldn't need multivitamins, you shouldn't need any of that. The piece that provides the longevity, the part that gives you longer life, the argument, is that you're keeping your insulin levels low. Carbohydrates, they have to be broken down because it's sugar with insulin. Now, if you're eating, for example, white potatoes all the time, that's all you eat, for example, your body's constantly spiking insulin up, which uses a couple different organs to make that. It spikes that up and then use your liver to filter it out and break it down. Well, as you spike your insulin up and you bring it down, you spike it up, you bring it down, that eventually wears out like any other organ in your body. This leads to diabetes. This is why it seems kind of odd. We have children that are, below the age of 10 that have adult diabetes, but then you look at what diet they're eating. They're eating fast food all the time. They're eating, just tons of candy. They're eating, they're drinking Mountain Dew by the gallon as opposed to drinking water or juice. Even if you eat a high fruit diet, a lot of people argue that if you eat too much fruit, that's still a lot of sugar, you can cause the same problems. Well, eating a low-carb diet keeps your insulin levels low. That insulin level being low actually tends to show people that have lower insulin levels tend to have longer lifespans. So the argument is keep your insulin level low throughout your life. You'll live longer, you have a lot less issues, inflammation stays down, these type of things. So the author argues in the book that if you eat this way, you can get rid of a lot, his arthritis went away, you can get rid of a lot of your seemingly chronic illnesses. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. I can't say that for sure. I have no idea. I don't have those kind of issues, so I don't know. Everyone who I've talked to who's on this diet for long periods has had that, has said it's either gone away or has been lessened. So it can't hurt. Now, a lot of people argue if you're going to eat this way, if you're going to eat grains, you should eat gluten-free. Hey, I've heard arguments on both sides for gluten, whether gluten-free or not. If you're a part of the celiac disease group, don't eat gluten, obviously. If you don't have celiac disease, there's still debate on whether or not you should have gluten, but it does not provide anything to you, so not eating it won't hurt you, but gluten-free stuff tends to be more expensive. But again, if you're not eating grains, you don't have to worry about the gluten. Don't worry about it. So, like I said, I will cover what I eat every day for the meals. Their macronutrient profiles. I'll cover what I do for my workouts, and I'll cover how that makes me feel and things like that. And I'll update you, and we'll keep track of this together. Again, if you have any questions, you can post a comment down below, or you can email me at r0=1@gmail.com. For those of you wondering about the title of the page, R0=1. When you do medical tests, your R0 value is the population of the people taking the experiment. It's 1 because I'm the only one, so R0=1, which means none of the results from this will be considered average or usable for other people to be like, oh, see, I told you it's real. It's just one guy. Again, you may try this transformation. It may do nothing for you because your genetics don't support that. I would say based on the majority of people who comment on this and who participate in this type of lifestyle and see results, they tend to be Anglo-Saxon of European descent. They make an argument that this is for everybody. I don't know. Your genetics may not include that. You may have great genetics. You may not need this problem. Everyone's seen that person at the gym who eats terribly and eats nothing but Snickers bars, yet he's got six-pack abs and giant biceps. And we've seen those people that they eat healthy all the time and they do everything they can and they run a lot and they're still fat. Hey, don't worry about it. Your weight is not that important. Your body fat content is. The weight is only on here as an example. Again, the body fat percentage is more or less what I'm concerned about. But the Army tells me I'm overweight, so hey, give it a shot. Why not? Also, if you think there's any other great experiments that you think would be kind of interesting for me to try after this 21-day, leave a comment and put it out there. I'll look into it. If it's something that I think works with what I'm doing, hey, no problem. If you want to see me try a workout system or whatever else, if I can afford to buy it and give it a shot, hey, no problem. Nothing's really off the table aside from things that might involve hurting myself. But I'll at least look into it and let you guys know. Anyways, like I said, if you got any questions or issues, leave a comment below or send me an email. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on day 1. Thanks.